Howdy, 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 and welcome to another episode of the DirtInfo podcast. If you're new here, or if you're not new here, if you could just hit the like down there or subscribe or whatever it is, wherever you're watching this, it helps out us so much. And we've noticed a lot of new viewers and a lot of new growth, and we want to keep sharing what we're doing with everyone. So if you could please just hit one of those, we'd really appreciate it. But I'll get us into our first segment. Carter, as always, we lead off with Stylin and Profilin. And let's have you go first.
Real quick before we do that, so I got new shirts. Do you want to mention maybe the new thing that's on screen before we before we get too deep into this?
Oh, this thing? Yeah. Yeah. So I got sick and tired of that stupid mic hanging off here and words dropping off and the audio quality being bad. So I decided I would invest in a microphone. So hopefully it sounds better.
You set it up what last night or something?
Last night at midnight, I
Yeah.
called you while you were driving and we tested audio last night. So yeah.
So yeah, if it doesn't sound perfect yet, we don't worry, we'll get it perfect hopefully by next week.
Yeah,
But
we'll fine tune her in.
on the bright side, you won't just stop talking all of a sudden because your mic decides to stop working. So
Yeah, we won't have to do the code word with you shaking it every time. So yeah, hopefully it's
Um,
better.
all right, I'll jump into my shirt. So these, I've been meaning to show these for like whenever High Limit was in Wisconsin and the Outlaws, but every time we record, they were like in the washer. So, but I finally can show them now. I got three new shirts. This one this is a Carson Mosquito one. And when I bought it, I didn't realize it was golfing themed. I don't go golfing at all. But I somehow missed there's a golf ball right here where my pinky is.
Yeah,
And then
I'm just offended you say you don't go golfing. We recorded late because
oh,
you went
that's
mini
mini
golfing. So
golfing.
don't come out here
Hey,
and tell me you don't
that
golf.
I go mini golfing, yes, but once I'm not putting, we're in trouble. Uh, but yeah, I didn't realize there was golfing theme, but I don't really doesn't bother me. It still looks nice. And on the back, the car's
I
like
dig it.
on like a what is it, the green, the course,
Yep,
whatever you want to call it.
putting green. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other one, this was we got at 141. You see that Corey Day shirt. Had to get
Oh
that
yeah.
before he left us for NASCAR. Real shame.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
And then this one's probably my favorite one. I'll show the front too, because the front's like simple. I like how the front is so it's not a big like this one's got a big graphic, but
Mm-hmm.
then the back there's a bunch of ducks on it and stuff that you can't really see. But the main
Right
reason I
on.
got this is his wrap is by far my favorite wrap out of all the drivers, sprint car guys, or at least the national ones for sure. So as soon as I saw he had new shirts, I went and picked one up. I got one this past Christmas, and then I had to get the updated wrap, which hasn't changed much, but it changed enough for me to get a new shirt. So,
Well, that one was my favorite just because it wasn't black.
oh
So
yeah, I tried to get non-black ones. So mainly this color, or like sandish color, but
yeah.
they don't
Yep.
always have that option. So,
Right on. Well, you're slowly venturing out. I'm always the one for colors, but so I've got my Jensen Ford, the dealership shirt on. So this one's kind of cool. I think there's like a little bit of Twitter lore that goes
yeah,
into it. So, yep. So like Scotty Mick, I think he goes by, or Scotty McBurr, or something on Twitter. I think it's at Scotty MC. I think that's what it
yeah,
is. But
I
yeah,
go Scotty MC if I
yeah.
reference him.
Okay, we'll go with Scotty MC. I think it's MCBR on Dirt Draft. Anyway, I'm getting in the weeds. Anyway, so I guess he when Jensen Ford started racing a little bit more on a national scene, he coined the nickname the dealership, and so then they took him a hot minute, but they eventually got around and did this shirt. So I dig it. It's been one of my favorites. The back's pretty cool too, right? It looks like an old school dealership. And like the Dirt Draft shirt last week, I'm kind of a sucker right now for like that throwback nostalgia, like eras vibe. So I dig the back too. But unfortunately, I noticed today at Colton's baseball game, there's a small little pinhole on the front. So this bad boy's gonna this getting retired. This is his retirement tour right here on the podcast. It's done donezo after here. Probably gonna cut the sleeves off and turn it into a lawn mowing shirt. It's probably its future, but it's done for public use. So this is its farewell ride.
That's I have shirts that end up in that grouping. Like once the print starts fading after wearing it for so long or something, it'll go into like I'll still wear it in public, but it won't go to a racetrack. I need fresh race shirts at the
Yeah,
track.
you gotta look good. You never know when you might find a cutie there, right? Can't have no holes in it. Anyway, this is where we talk about what we did this past weekend, and I'm gonna let you lead off again because you seem to think yours wasn't very noteworthy. So I feel like it's kind of old hat by this point, but I would
Yeah,
argue Luxy got to race, so like
yeah.
it's noteworthy.
They did get to race, and it didn't rain during the races, but it rained overnight, so there was still question marks during the day of whether they're going to race. But they were pumping water out at like around noon and stuff out of the pit area and all that fun stuff. But the track wasn't too bad. It was more the pits that seemed to be the issue. But they got all the water out for the most part, it seemed. So they were able to race. I think they had like 116 cars, I think they got. Which it was actually like the perfect number where there's not like a B main in every class, but you still got like a full field in every class. I think there was one B main for the stock cars. Stock cars, I think they had 30. But I love nights where you get a full field, but you don't need a B main. Like if you have
Yeah,
five classes, it's different if I'm going to like a World of Outlaw late model show and we have 20 late models. I'd be a bit disappointed,
that's
especially because
different. I'm here for the B
that's
mains for that.
yeah that then especially because they have about 20 of them that follow the series, so that'd be pretty disappointing if only 20
Yeah,
showed up. Um, but yeah, so it was the perfect car count, and they got done before 10 and they started at 7, so it was like under 3 hour show. Somewhere between 9:30 and 10 they got done. And the mod feature was pretty good too. There was with like 3 or 4 to go, there was like I think four cars that like legitimately could have won it. It seemed like um, Todd Felix Dart, who ended up winning, was there. Benji was there. Sean Kilgore and Charneski were all like under a blanket pretty much. And for a second, I thought Benji was going to get him because it was uh, it was like you watched the stock car feature. I think I mentioned. Well, that must have been a month ago now. But where they were like three wide coming to the line with coming to the white flag. It was like that, and I was like, "Oh, Benji," and he was on the bottom. I was like, "Oh, Benji's going to drive past both of them." But there was grip all over the track. So everyone the top seemed to be the fastest way around. So Felix started ended up kind of not driving away, but getting far enough ahead where you could hang on to it. But yeah, it was a good race. It seems like every time they race, they get a good race. The problem is they can
yeah.
barely race.
The product's good if Mother Nature ever lets them
Yeah,
get
eh,
put it on. Did you post that on Facebook as the race of the
yep.
week?
It's on
Okay,
the
so I
track
did see it.
page.
Yeah, okay. I thought you were describing it. I'm like, I swear I've seen this race.
Yep,
So
yep.
yeah, right on. So
And then Saturday night, I went nowhere. I had a wedding, and if you know me, it's very hard to get me away from
yeah, it must have been someone
a
really
track.
important.
And it happened to fall perfectly where I wasn't streaming that night. So like I didn't even have to be anywhere. Like it would have been bad to say no because I realistically didn't actually have to be at a track, but it was hard for me to skip late models at 141 because that happens like twice a year pretty much. So um
And
but I
turns out
ended up
it was a pretty good race
yeah,
too.
it was a good race. I was concerned it may have rubbered there, so I wasn't too worried about missing it, but it didn't rubber. It was a really good finish from what I seen on Flow. So sucks I had
Yeah.
to miss it, but I'm glad I went to the wedding. I had some drinks, maybe more than some. Um, but anyways, and then Sunday I went to Angel Park.
Hold on. I do want to quickly mention uh there are some pictures of you on Facebook at the wedding, and I wanted to say you clean up nice. Was that a Hawaiian shirt and some khaki shorts? Is that what we were rocking?
Hawaiian shirt. Yeah, I don't know if it was like I don't know if they were khaki shorts. I don't really know what they were, but
Yeah.
weren't my normal like gym
Yeah.
shorts that I usually wear.
They had a zipper and
And a button on the front, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Right on. Anyway, but so fair enough. I'll leave it there. But so then on Sunday you went to Angel Park.
Angel
You
Park,
said,
and they were fighting the weather there, the heat, I should say, not rain or anything. It was like 95 degrees or something, probably felt hotter than that. And to add on to that, there was like 30 mile per hour like wind gusts throughout the day.
"Oh fuck."
Um, so heat and a lot of wind do not make good for a track. Because yeah, they did qualifying hot laps and then the midget heats, and then after that, it was pretty dusty during the midget heats. They did a track rework, and it wasn't really too dusty. it just kind of got rough, but like it never rubbered or anything. Like the racing, it actually, and the racing was good still. And then once they got through the heats, they did more track prep for the features. But I thought the features were pretty good, given the circumstances. It never locked down or anything. So I'll take it for.
Heck yeah. Yeah. I mean, with that hot, I will say that's I had two pretty scorchers too, and they both tracks managed to keep the track in solid condition. So yeah, they had to work hard for it though. But, yeah. But right on. So well, I went to on something in my eye. We're gonna fight through that. Um, on Saturday, I went to Ogilvie. Speaking of Ogilvie, Carter, do you know who the track photographer is there?
Mark Anderson, isn't it?
It is indeed. And do you know what his website is?
MarkAndersonImages.com, is that right?
Absolutely, it is. And where can you find him on Facebook?
Probably at Mark Anderson Images, if I had to guess.
Yes, nailed it. Uh, we really appreciate Mark's support of the Dirt Info podcast. He contributed again to the art for the thumbnail for this episode, and we just really want to do something special and shout him out. So thank you so much, Mark, for contributing to the podcast again, and we really appreciate it. And y'all go check him out. He does great work.
And back to the episode.
And you probably won't believe me. I showed up late. Straight
I
up late.
I was wondering that because you didn't post until pretty late. So I was like, oh, maybe he's not going there. I think I ended up.
No, so we decided to hit up the brass rail on the way up there. You
Oh
went there
yeah.
with us. Yep. And it was hot as hell, bro. Just wasn't in a hurry to get there early. And I missed time my run to the brass rail, and we showed up a little late. I think I missed a heat and a half maybe. But I did
Oh, you
walk in
showed
to
up
see.
real late. I thought we caught it
Yeah.
like 10 minutes before they started. You missed a whole race.
No, I
I
missed
would
the
have been
whole
I would
heat
have been
race. And
stressing out if there was a race going on and I wasn't there.
I mean, it felt like 105 when I rolled up. So like I wanted to be there for all of it, but there was some oppressive heat that was slowing me down and just not making it totally worth it. But yeah, I tried to be on time and I wasn't. So, but much different than some other trips this year for sure.
Yeah, you're either get there before the pits open or you're there once the race is already going on, it seems.
Yeah, apparently there's no in between. But no, I did walk in to see Ashley and Wyatt Boyum going toe to toe in a heat race, though. So that's kind of cool. My logo on the side of my my logo on the side of that car, and go by. I'm always reminded of Days of Thunder when I see that. I'm like, my name's on that car. But anyway, so um yeah, so I rolled in. Uh that was what I first witnessed. That was a pretty cool heat race. We had to stand in the entrance and wait for it to finish before we went and found seats.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So anyway, we settled in and pretty a solid night of racing, especially underneath the conditions, right? That's hot as the dickens. I was sweating. I posted a video. They did go around the track a couple different times and spray the water truck along the catch
Oh,
fence,
I
and
did
they
see
want
that.
people
Yeah.
to, yeah. So they were helping the kids mostly stay cool. Um, so
And
that
you
was
you didn't go stand by the fence and get cooled off.
I did not. I was covered in sweat. I was wet enough. So anyway, so it was a fun night of racing. I think the most noteworthy thing is Shane Sabraski won three features. He won the super stock feature, he won the modified feature, and he won the late model feature. So by the late model feature, that my guy had to have been parched for sure. Like, I'm pretty sure he went back and had like a Gatorade and a beer. Celebrate. But yeah, um, he had to try to drive a little bit forward in the super stock feature, and he won kind of going away. Mods, he actually the thing is he won going away and everything. It was like he had everything locked in, and he didn't start on the pole of any of them, I don't think, but he drove to the lead rather quickly, and just kind of just dominated is the best way to put it. But then the DRC TV Street Stocks were there, and oh my, did they put on a show. Oh, they put on a show. Jim Gullickson ended up winning, and he came forward from pretty far back, but there were some restarts towards the end, and I don't know. Did you see the video of the wild crash?
That's what I was going to ask you about if you didn't mention. I was going to
Yeah.
say where did you see the crazy rollover that happened?
Oh yeah, that was wild. So like, truth be told, there was a restart. I think like a lap or two before that went down, and Andrew Hansen, the guy that ended up barrel rolling down the backstretch, was the leader. And like coming to the green on the restart, Cody Comer, the 12th, who was the other guy involved in that incident, he kind of like I thought he jumped the start personally. Like I felt like he jumped the start, and so like they ended up going three wide into turn one, and coming out of that, that's when Jim Gullickson took the lead again and ended up hanging on. But then like that's what led to that whole calamity 2 laps or a lap and a half or 2 laps later was then Hansen ended up getting up on the high side and getting a clear run down the backstretch, and Comer just I mean, from where I was, they black flagged him. I'll say they black flagged him, and I didn't feel like it was totally out of line. I don't know that I 100% agree with it, but I didn't think it was like wildly out of line. So, and then they actually ended up ending the feature there because they were coming to the checkered when that
Oh,
all
yeah.
happened. Yeah, so they ended up and Andrew Hansen ended up getting second place. In the,
Oh, so
he,
they
they,
went did they go back to like the last lap
the,
pretty much?
yeah,
Gotcha.
they went to the last completed lap, so he ended up getting second place. There's a picture of him in the top three, but so he went over and took pictures afterwards, so he was definitely okay. But it was a wild, definitely wild. And the thing is there was other crazy stuff. One, the racing was just it was heated. It was hot out, and the racing was heated. That's the best way to put it. So much so that there at one point there was a caution because Tommy Pagonis' car just lit on fire.
Oh, that's not good.
Just
That's never good.
yeah, just the intake. There was just flames coming out of the intake, and like he just jumped out of it, and I guess didn't put it in park for the lack of a better phrase, or it was in neutral, and it started rolling down the hill till someone, and they like threw it in reverse and backed up, and they got to put out pretty quick. But yeah, so that also happened. So it was just they put on a show, dude.
It,
Like for
it's
real.
it seems like I've seen like a lot of like really crazy wrecks at Ogilvie, and not like anything with like the track being rough or anything. It's just like it seems like when they wreck there, they wreck really big. Like I've just
Yeah,
seen clips on Facebook and whatnot of just humongous wrecks there.
if
I think I-94 is another place where I've seen some crazy wrecks. Sometimes I get them
yeah.
mixed up. I know they look different, but like when I see clips of just like the corner or something, I get them mixed up. But
Yeah, I've seen a few wild wrecks. I've seen a micro go flying down the front stretch at
oh yeah.
Ogilvie too.
And I
Um,
remember when I was there, a Mod 4 rolled down the front stretch too, when I was there
yeah,
last year.
yeah. It's the I don't know that when the high line is in when you can really rail the cushion right, it kind of funnels up right there, and they do on the backstretch. It happens quite like a lot of
They
their
probably
big
just have
wrecks happen
so
on.
much speed too. Like it's not
Yeah.
like it's a quarter mile where they could still wreck, but they're not going nearly as fast and carry as much speed when they start clipping down the backstretch or wherever.
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially if a dude gets like a runoff two coming down that backstretch there, they are
Yeah,
flying. Yeah, yeah. So, and those things, a lot of it sometimes it's just a racing deal. Like those lines close up quick, and
exactly.
yeah, yeah. You misjudge just quite how fast that sound
That
behind you
guy's
was coming.
coming.
Yeah. But that was a fun night. It was definitely a heater of a night. And then, so I had mentioned last week I might get 2 out of 3. I was probably gonna tap out after Ogilvie, but
I was gonna
you,
ask you this. I was gonna ask you if the breaking news I said may be coming may change your
yeah,
plans.
it did. It absolutely did. And that is a-okay by me. It gave me a reason. It gave me a very, very good reason to go. I mean, the long and short, I was talking to Sherry about it because, like, in some respects, it feels a little uh not responsible. Like, you know what I mean? Like to go racing 2 days in a row when I have to work the next day and all of that. Just but so I was talking about it, like, but when your buddy drives 5.5 hours and goes to like one of your home tracks, you go. You just go. There's just like there's no really thinking about it. So yeah, when you warned me on Friday that Ryan was going to be at Granite City, and then he did confirm on Saturday indeed that he was going, I was like, we're going.
Sorry,
I'm
Ryan.
going to the race.
I didn't tell Ryan I was going to tell you, but I figured I should let you plan ahead of time. And
Yeah,
he said he was going to tell you Saturday once the weather for sure was like looking good.
okay,
So,
yeah,
but yeah, I was like I'm just gonna
yeah,
let you know ahead of time because I knew
yeah.
you probably would have went to just one if he wasn't going. So
Yep, yep. After Saturday, yeah, for sure. But I did hydrate back up, and I went back out to Granite City, and yeah, I'm so glad he came, and I'm so glad I went. It was a super fun night of racing. I do got to give him, so like, breaking news mostly to Ryan again, but like I got to give him a little bit of crap. So somehow he managed to he saved us seats because we showed up a little more closer to on time to this one. He saved us seats, and somehow he managed to pick the two spots on the top row that weren't blocking the sun for Sherry and I to sit in. Like, I could see how you wouldn't catch it. I didn't even catch it for a hot minute. I sat there for a while and I was like, gosh. And then I was like, oh, you're kidding me. Because it was like there's well, almost the whole top row has like signs and billboards that face the parking lot or plywood or whatever down the side. And then there's the announcer's booth right here. So there's like a sliver of three or two, like a place where two people can sit to get hit by the sun at the very top row. And that's where we were sitting. I did eventually move, but it was a super fun night of racing. Um, the street stock feature again, I would argue probably stole the show. Tommy Pagonis won that. There was like two or three different leaders I think throughout the 25 lap feature, and Pagonis, who I'd mentioned was on fire yesterday, carried that momentum in a different way and made a pass. I want to say it was. I saw so much racing. A lot of these things are blurring together. You know what I mean?
welcome to
But I
my
want to
world.
say, yeah. But I want to say it was a fairly late pass for the lead after there was a lead change or two. So it was just another very, very good race. Those guys delivered, dude. That was the first two times I've seen the street stocks, and I'm gonna make a point of going to see them more. That was
You're just solidifying my point that the street stocks are the best class in Minnesota. That
I still disagree. My personal favorite is modifieds, but the late models are starting to put a run on it. But like
mods
the
would probably
street
be my
stocks
second.
are, what's
I do
that?
like the mods. They're probably
Mods.
second for me.
Yeah.
Although if the pure stocks get a full field, they might make their way up there. The problem is every time I see them, there's usually single digits for the card count of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. They don't run them as many places, I don't think. So the numbers are a little down. But yeah. So So Tommy Pagonis won the street stocks one. I do agree. The street stocks are definitely up there. Honestly, Wasota puts down some good racing. I'm just gonna be for real. Like Ogilvie had solid racing, although like I mentioned, Shane kind of ran away with a few of them. But overall, generally it was pretty solid racing. Um and uh and and Granite City was too. And so Blake Adams won the mod feature. The mods only had 7 there.
I will
So
say I talked to Ryan on the phone earlier today, and he said the mod
yeah.
feature was still pretty good because there was a
Yeah.
restart late in it, and I guess Sabraski like was running in like fourth or fifth for the pretty much whole race, and then right at the end he got up to second, and he said that was pretty entertaining. So
Yeah,
he,
I said he went from second to last to second in like 2 laps on a late restart, but I think there was only 7 there, so
yeah,
like
there
you
was
know,
7
yeah,
because
mileage varies on that, but it was a cool move. He did duck way down underneath 2 or 3 guys and kind of rail the bottom to second.
Ryan told me he was hoping for 10 mods, so they fell a little short on that. But
They did fall a little
he
short.
did say he was happy with the racing too. He was satisfied with it. So
Yeah, I thought it was pretty solid. The street stocks was Kurt Myers won that, kind of took the lead early, and there were some challenges here and there, but the
in the
racing beyond
street
for first
stocks
was good.
or super stocks?
Super stocks. I'm
Okay.
sorry if I misspoke. Super stocks. Yes, super stocks. Um, so even that was good. Kurt Myers, like I said, won, kind of going away a little bit, but the racing behind him was really good. Sabraski finished second twice on Sunday. So 1-1-1 and then 2-2 at Granite City. But yeah, overall the racing was really good, and a good vibe. One bummer, the water truck broke
Oh, yeah, I heard about.
during intermission. It got a little Western. I'll just, it got a little Western or Eastern Wisconsin. Ryan didn't blink an eye. He's like, "This is fine. You should have been at 141 last night." So, uh, but yeah, the wind and the conditions made for a bit of a
Dusty.
Western night. Yeah,
Yeah, at
is the word.
141, at 141 it's dusty every time, and not even like in a bad way. It's just
Yeah,
I think you're so close to the track and it's just dry there, but like it doesn't usually rubber unless it's the Clash of the Creek apparently. Um
yeah.
but yeah, he's if you go to
Yeah.
141 like he does, he's dust is nothing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was dusty to a little dusty to watch, but I wouldn't say like the stands are pretty far back up, and like I said, we were top row, right?
yeah.
So, but they're a little off the track to begin with, but it wasn't like we were just getting peppered the whole time,
Oh
right? It
yeah,
was
that's
just
how it is. 141 you get peppered,
yeah,
but you can see. So I'll
yeah.
take getting peppered if as long as I can see what's going on.
Yeah, and you
He's
could
got a
definitely see what's going on. It was a little dusty. I'm just gonna call a spade a spade. It was a little dusty, right? But it was still solid racing, and you could see what everything
I
that
mean
was going on. But it
90
just
what
stinks when the
90
water
something.
truck.
Oh yeah, water truck
Yeah,
breaking us out. But I mean, when it's 90
yeah,
90 something degrees out, if you
yeah.
went into there expecting no dust, then
Yeah,
I don't
right.
know what to
So,
tell you.
yeah, we're still dirt racing. You know what I mean? Yeah. So no, but it was all in all very fun. A bit tiring, but fun weekend of racing for sure. Um, but didn't leave a ton of room to watch much stuff. But I did catch a little bit throughout the week. Um, I think we both caught a little bit of the World of Outlaws here and there. They were at Peevely. That was, I'll say the headline there is just how adventurous those shows were ended up playing out.
Oh
I got so I uh, Friday they just like scrapped the whole mod
yeah,
program till after.
yeah. Because I got home from Luxembourg. It's probably around 10 after tearing down the streaming stuff and whatnot. And I was able to watch. I think the only like actual racing I missed was the midget heat races. But other than that, I saw from late model heat one all the way through the rest of the
All the way
show.
through.
Because yeah,
Crazy.
then the late or the midget and late model feature got done, and it's like, oh, we still got a whole mod field or show to run. I guess
The whole program.
they
Yeah.
scrapped the heat races, so they like changed up how it was ran
Yeah.
and whatever. But yeah, I was like, oh, this is. I'm okay with. Usually, I don't get to see stuff in the Midwest during summer because I'm usually at a track, but I could see the whole thing, so it felt like it was in
Yeah.
California.
Yeah, I had the same thing happen to me on Saturday. I got home from Ogilvie at like little after 12, I think. And I was like, "Oh, the Outlaw feature's starting." I got to watch the whole thing on Saturday. So, uh, Saturday, the race on Saturday was pretty cool. What did you think of the race on Friday? We'll start with Friday. You
Friday was pretty good. I remember it did rubber in 3 and 4, but 1 and 2 is still you could kind of go wherever. And it was rough, but not as bad as I think Saturday. I watched the highlights from Saturday, but Pierce, I don't remember fully, but Pierce was leading, I think, a good portion of that, maybe all of it. But then late in the race, Gustin was like right behind him, and I thought he may have been able to get him, but then a caution came out with like 2, 3 laps to go. And I think traffic was kind of helping Gustin because then once they did a
okay, yeah.
restart, it didn't really seem like he was like there was no really concern about him getting past at that point. But if the
Uh,
caution had come out, it may have been quite the finish. But it was still a good race overall.
Yeah. Yeah, on Saturday was definitely entertaining. That was an elbows up racetrack. That was pretty rough. Um it was definitely cool to watch Mike Harrison lead like the first half and sort of fend off Drake Troutman, but at some point Troutman just got momentum going around there. I'm pretty sure he went right by well,
I
they were
think
crisscrossing, it doesn't even matter,
Harrison
but
jumped the cushion over in 4, if I remember
okay,
right.
that might have been more.
And
Yeah.
then like he was above the cushion, and then Troutman just flew right past
That's
him.
what it was. Yep, 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 yep. But yeah, and then I don't know, in Victory Lane when they were interviewing Troutman. Was that his first win? I think they meant that was
First
his
outlaw
first
win.
outlaw win. Yep, yep. But when they were interviewing him, Harrison came over and was like, "Man, I tried to hang with you, but after about 20 laps, I was just flat wore out." And he was supposed to be in the mod feature after he didn't come out for that, so he was flat wore out. Um, but yeah, the racing was good. Pearson Turbo had another run in
Yep, I saw
late in
that.
the race. Yeah, so I don't know. They're on again, off again friendship, maybe off again for now. So who knows? Check in next week to see what happens on wow. I
They
think
they
Deer Creek's the next run in we'll have
they'll
between them.
probably there, yeah. Unless Turbo
Yeah,
might not even go there. It depends if he follows all the Hell Tour races. They'll come back together at some point though.
they
They'll be at
will.
the same track eventually.
He Turbo does love him some Deer Creek though.
Yeah, I
So
think I think last year it was I don't remember where he ended up, but I feel like it was a tough decision for him.
yeah. I think he did go there and then he just didn't win that week and still won the whole Hell Tour
Yeah, I think
anyway.
yeah, because he did go to Deer Creek because I remember then Sunday he went to Hobstadt, Indiana for the Hell Tour. So he went from
Oh
Deer
yeah.
Creek and then all the
Super
way
short
to
one.
yeah, but yeah, he still won the whole thing. That's right.
Cool. Right on. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll check in and I'll probably be there for one or multiple, possibly multiple days, but for sure one day of the Go for 50. So I can report back on the status of their friendship then. Anyway. But yeah. So so the Outlaws put on a fairly good show. And I mean, some people complained that it was late. It turns out it worked out great for us.
Yeah.
If you were going to races, that was you wanted that, but I don't
No,
think
for
the
the people in
majority of people.
attendance, yeah, people in attendance, it was probably sucked. I would have probably not been too happy either.
Yeah, I can't imagine that'd have been very fun. But at least they got to race. Learner Lucas at Lernerville for the Firecracker 100. Man, they look. I think they tried. They tried on Thursday and that didn't go. They really tried on Friday. I think they got
I think they
cars
got
on
some heats
track.
in, yeah, or some they got
Yeah,
something, yeah,
hot
they got
laps. I
cars on
think
track for
hot
sure, yeah.
laps. Yeah, they got hot laps in, and then it rained again. But they decided to just do 50K in one day, and Davenport won that. I didn't. I haven't caught much of that, but I'm under the impression he kind of just drove away and won the whole thing.
Yeah,
It
that's
doesn't
what
look
I've
like.
seen. The one thing I saw from their one video was Daniel Hilsebeck took a tumble in I think it was 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, yeah. I saw a crazy picture of where he's inverted.
Yeah,
It kind of reminded me of Top Gun. I don't. Are you have you seen the original Top Gun?
no, I know what it is, but I have not seen it. I
Anyway,
haven't
for
seen any of
everyone
them.
else watching who's seen this, he was upside down to the track like this, but it reminded me of the picture in Top Gun,
Oh,
the opening
I do
scene.
know what
Anyway,
picture.
yeah,
I know what you're
yeah,
talking about though. I know
yeah,
like I've seen a clip or picture or whatever of
yeah.
that.
Remind me of that scene in that clip. So anyway, but yeah, we were inverted. Anyway, moving now. I've got the line in. We can move past it. But yeah, that was pretty wild. That was, um, so, but I think wasn't there? Forget it. My brain. I can't remember. There's something in there, but I'm gonna move past it because I can't even describe it good. But
Is it
um,
about Lernerville?
no, I think there was another wreck, but I can't remember which
Oh,
one.
yeah. If there was, I
So
didn't see that.
in either in Outlaws or there, but I can't recall. So I'm gonna move past it. Um, but anyway, so there, Lucas is off this weekend, and then unfortunately, Lucas does run shows on the 4th of July. So
Yeah.
Deer Creek might not have a ton of folks
Oh,
there, but.
do you want to mention too? Mason Ziegler won the Rush late model
Oh
feature,
yeah,
correct? That was
yeah, he
20,000 to win.
did. That was 20,000 to win. And also, I think fair to note, Max Blair finished third in both the features. He finished third in the Rush Late Model and third in the Firecracker 100. So
So
I thought
good
that was
weekend
kind
for
of
him
neat.
too. Not a
Good
win, but
weekend for him.
still overall good weekend.
Yeah,
And
solid.
was
Uh,
Ziegler wasn't he in the top 10 at Lernerville too?
fifth.
Okay, yep. So
Yep.
yeah, really
Yep.
good weekend for him.
Yeah, so I read on Dirt that he wasn't intending to even race the Super. He was
Yep.
just like, that's just too much for our crew to try to do 3 days in both. But when it rained out Thursday and then Friday, I guess they sent someone on Friday night like, go get the Super, we're gonna run it. And so paid off. He finished fifth. Right on. So I thought that was interesting. But Anyway, I did so I caught a fair bit of USMTS as well this past week. So they ran during the week, which worked out good for me. Um, they started on, I think it was Wednesday, Tuesday. It was Tuesday at Casino.
Yep.
Yeah, Tuesday at Casino. That was a pretty cool show. Honestly, the car count was a little lower than I would have hoped, um but they put on a show. Tanner Mullins won that on a last lap pass. He did go around the top side around Reese Solander. Solander tried to give him a bit of a door and slow him down, but it didn't work. Tanner drove by him on last lap pass. That one's a tongue twister.
That was the one clip I saw from the USMTS weekend was
Yeah.
that right there. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was probably the most clip-worthy thing that happened. Also, Trevor Sauer, I think I'm saying that right. Um, or Travis. Is it Travis Sauer? This is what I get for ad-libbing and
I
not
think the
looking
last
this through.
name is pronounced like sour, like not the
Sauer. Okay.
or
And it's
like
Travis, right?
that. I don't remember. That sounds right.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds right. Anyway, 21X. I can get the number, nail it. Green and white
I
car.
know who you're talking about,
Yep,
but
yep, yep. I apologize for butchering every part of that, but I'm pretty sure it's Travis Sauer now that you say it. But anyway, he was fun to watch. He was one of the few Wasota cars that showed up there, and he was railing the top. Had it not been for a broken shock mount, he might have had something for Solander and Mullins, but on a late restart, he broke a shock mount and hung on for fifth, but it was cool watching him rail the cushion and make up time on him. And you know me, I'm a homer for my Wasota guys. Any guy in a Wasota car, I'm gonna root for him, and I'll pound the table that they can compete with these guys. More proof of it there.
especially
But
it's even smaller because that's a quarter mile, correct? I
yep,
know it's small, yeah. So maybe we need to have 100K on a quarter mile.
and a quarter mile at Casino.
Yeah, that'd work.
They call it the jungle, man. That's a cool nickname. I dig that. Um, but anyway, so then the next night they were at off road, and car count was definitely a little low there. I think they had 19, 20, maybe.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
one of those two for sure.
yeah, yeah. But the first heat race was a absolute banger. Joe Chisholm and Trevor Hughes absolutely threw down a banger of a heat race, and I was like, "This is going to be a good one." I know the car comes down. This is going to be a good. That was the best of it. Rodney Sanders just took the lead a couple laps in and just drove out of everyone's life, and the racing behind was kind of meh. Fairly big track without enough cars on it to make it interesting. Kind of just it was what it was. But I do those Nebraska tracks. Eagle is pretty rad, and this off road track is pretty rad.
Uh,
There's been some other races there.
Beatrice looks cool too. That's another one in
Yeah,
Nebraska. Um,
yeah,
and Boone County, which we'll probably be talking about soon here because I got a big stock car race coming up. But I
definitely.
want to mention at off-road, I thought it was strange when I was looking at the entries. I don't know the last time I've seen, or if ever, a national series not have a single driver that is from the state the track is
Let's see.
in, like not enter. Like there was zero Nebraska cars running a mod there, which I mean, I get it's IMCA country, but I thought at least one of them would have been like, screw it.
Yeah.
I'm close to here. Might as well just give it a shot and see what happens. But
Well, if nothing else, last year's USMTS Rookie of the Year is from Nebraska. Like, Jacob Habscheit is from Nebraska. You would have thought maybe, but maybe he just doesn't even have that open car anymore.
that is true.
You
Yeah.
know, running late models and stuff. So, but anyway, but yeah, I did think that was interesting too. We did a little bit of digging. We couldn't find anything. So if
Yeah.
anyone can think of another one,
My
hey,
my guess is maybe like a USAC show because they go to like Kansas and whatnot, and maybe
yeah.
something out there like. But even then, there's like midgets and stuff in Oklahoma. I don't know. I think they're. If I had to guess, they might be like the most likely one, especially like Silver Crown. I'd consider that a national series, and they go to like weird
Yeah.
spots sometimes too.
That might be the one. We didn't dig into that much,
Silver
but that's
Crown, they
hard to
went to.
dig
I know they
into.
went to
Yeah.
Kansas. They went to that. I think it's that Salt City. One of
Yep.
the. They went there, and I don't know if any Silver Crown cars are from there. So that might be the answer.
We might have to dig into this after this episode, or if someone's watching wants to look and tell us, even better. But yeah. So finishing out the weekend, they then went Friday, Saturday, went down to Route 66, and they went topless, which makes you loose, you know. So Friday night was a late night. I actually was out at the fire till like past midnight, and I came in and I watched that feature, which it was cool to see Mark Smith win for the first time with USMTS. The track rubbered like 5 laps in though. It just yeah, it was then it was just around the bottom. So that was a bummer, especially racing so late to have the track rubber. It's just oof, that's double tough. But I don't know. I guess it was hot and windy there too, just like it was everywhere else. So the next night it looks like on Saturday it looked like they got it licked. They ran the feature at like 9:30 and the track was solid. So Kyle Strickler won that. So I'm gonna pound the thing I've been talking about the most with USMTS, and then we'll move on. There's I didn't even mention one of them, but there's 4 guys competing for a championship over here, and they just had a 4-day swing, and 3 of them won. Tanner Mullins won, Rodney Sanders won, Kyle Strickler won, and Jim Chisholm's the other one, the defending champ, and he's hanging tight. So I'm telling you, they're off for a month, and then they come up to my neck of the woods for a whole mess of time. So, but anyway, when they start back up, this is gonna be a good championship. Anyway, moving on. We had brought up this stock car show down at Texarkana 67. That's what we're gonna call it. I think we've seen it like 3 different ways, but that's what it is on MRP. So I'm gonna rock it. All right, Texarkana 67. They had 2 10K to win shows, I guess, or one show with 2 10K to win races. They had
for 2 different classes,
2
10K for
different
2.
classes. Yep. So I saw on my race pass, so they called this stock car thing the Arkansas Factory Stocks. But when we looked, it looked like it was RMCA stock cars and stuff like that. So apparently Arkansas really throws down with factory stocks, man. But anyway, they got 62 entries for the stock car portion of this. And Cody King ended up winning that. And then you probably saw the finish to the USRA factory stocks 10K to win race.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was wild. Dalton Faulkner won. And I just have to say this because this is an MRP thing, but he's from Cut and Shoot, Texas. Now that's a cool city name. But Dalton Faulkner won. And him and Keaton Atkinson had an incident coming to the checkered flag, and Atkinson ended up going kind of flipping and taking second place. But
rode up the wall and like hit the fence a bit, and then flipped down like
flipped
right
over.
as they got to like the flag stand, and he like started flipping.
Yeah, it was a wild finish. But so he did finish second. I mean, for what it's worth, a crazy finish. I believe he was A-okay, but
At least
better
he
than
crossed the
wrecking and
line.
not getting second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, you obviously he's probably not enough money to fix the car, but
No.
it'll help fix it. The second place
Yeah.
money versus a DNF. So
Yeah, right. So, and they ended up getting 47 USRA factory stocks too. So they had over 100 cars down there. So that's a pretty solid show. And they just ran just those two. So yeah, right on. So did want to bring that up. We mentioned it last week, and with the wild finish, we definitely had to revisit it. That was crazy. So anyway, I think that means now that we've recapped, I think more or less all the stuff we wanted to talk about. We are going to talk about where we're headed this weekend. I'm kind of iffy, so I'm going to let you lead because I think you got like a full slate this week.
yeah. Well, when this drops, I'll hopefully be in Illinois. So originally I was supposed to go to Cresco Speedway in Iowa, to stream for the high roller sprint cars, not the high limit sprint cars, the high roller ones. But they ended up canceling the sprint car portion. I think most of those guys are from like the Cedar Lake kind of area. It's like it's those ones, so that's a pretty long haul for them. And I was supposed to be there Wednesday, Thursday, but once they canceled the sprint car part, I was pretty much going there for that series. So I wasn't needed in Cresco anymore. And looking at the weather before they canceled, I kind of was like, if they cancel early enough, I could maybe change my plans up here. And they canceled early, so I'm gonna head to Illinois on Wednesday and Thursday and go to Tri-City Speedway, and then the one I'm looking forward to the most is Macon Speedway on Thursday for the Hell Tour. And
Yeah.
Macon's like it's pretty much the dome, but it's outside. So it's a fifth mile
Yeah.
track. It looks sweet. I've seen a few races. I mean, they really don't have much streamed. They had the Flow Night in America last year, and then their Hell
Yeah.
Tour races. Pretty much it. Maybe
Yeah.
a
Is
Mars
this the
show.
Herald and Review 100? Is
Yep.
that the
So
show
it's a
you're going
100
to?
lap feature. Yep.
Yeah,
Which,
100 laps too.
but it's on a fifth mile, so really I mean,
Yeah.
if you put if it was a 50 lap feature, I probably would have been watching like 20 laps or something. I don't know the math on there,
Yeah.
but
Well, I'm pretty sure by the end of this race, it's not even a fifth mile. I'm pretty. I've seen. I think I watched it last year and seen highlights from years. They just run the bottom, and it just that's where I think a lot of like you'll see a lot of passing and stuff. Is guys will find something on the bottom and sneak around a couple others, and then of course it's so small they're railing the top. But anyway,
yeah, then you
that's
got
the one
guys
that
like
sticks out to me. Yeah.
yeah, you got guys like Fager and Turbo just hammering the top side. As long as it doesn't rubber, which it is
Mhm.
supposed to be like 95 plus both days.
Okay.
So it'd be unfortunate if it rubbered, but I still want to get there.
Yeah,
It
you
just looks so
gotta
sweet.
go.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
been at the top of my list for a while, and now I finally there's a few times I could have went, but it would have been for a weekly show, which I like weekly shows, but I also want to see like full fields. So that's
Yeah.
kind of why I don't never went for a weekly show, but I hope I get a full field for the Hell Tour.
Yeah. That's gonna be
Um,
so cool.
y-
Are the modifieds with them?
yeah, mods will be with them both
Sweet.
days, and then on Wednesday they have B mods at Tri City, which is fine by me. As long as they don't crash a lot. I,
Yeah.
but yeah, Macon, I am jacked for, and then Ryan,
Yeah, I'm jealous.
I told Ryan so Ryan I knew they canceled a little bit before he texted me, but he Ryan texted me and I said I saw Cresco canceled the sprint car portions and I said yeah I'm currently getting a hotel as you're messaging me, and then he said I wonder if I can try to get off, and he was able to get off work for Wednesday and Thursday, so he's gonna come along with me, so that'll make it more fun versus just like a six
Hell
hour
yeah.
car ride.
Yeah.
So
How
and
about that? Ryan gets around, man. I went racing with him. I went racing with him on Sunday. You're going racing with me. He's a good racing buddy, man.
yeah, it's nice to have a racing buddy. It makes I
Yeah.
probably a lot of races I wouldn't have went to if he didn't come along. Like
Yeah.
just because it's I don't want to drive to like Alabama, for example, by myself. So
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
yeah, so that'll be fun. I'll definitely probably talk a good amount about that next week. But then Friday, I got to come home after Thursday. We'll come back home Friday morning, and I gotta be at Luxembourg to stream, and then I go to Plymouth, and then Sunday I'll go to Angel Park. And they have modifieds at Angel Park, which I've only seen like open wheel, I guess like sprint car stuff, and then legends there. So modifieds will be cool to see
Okay.
there. Um, but yeah, Wednesday and Thursday, I'm looking forward to the most. So in 2 days from
Yeah.
now, when we're recording this.
Yeah. Yeah. Or today
Yeah,
when it comes
today
out.
when you listen to it is when I'll
Yeah.
hopefully be in Granite City, Illinois, but not
Yeah.
Granite City, Minnesota.
Right. So, well, I am gonna try to make it to a race. I'm gonna actually try to get out to Cedar Lake again. This time to see the World of Outlaws sprint cars. So I try to make it to the show every year. I missed last year, but I was like the 4 years prior made it. So hoping to refire. This is when I started kind of like lit the fire, honestly, of like super dirt racing passion was my buddy Joel and I would go to like local races at Princeton, and then we like went out and saw like the legendary opener or something at
Oh
like
yeah.
Cedar Lake once, and then we would bounce around, and then eventually we found out that the Outlaws were coming, and Joel's like, we gotta go see sprint cars because apparently he had seen them before when he was in North Dakota, and so I went and I saw him, and I was like, hell yeah, and so I like lit a fire like the national tours, like then that stroked like my like analytical brain of like, wait, there's tours about this, and there's like and then it's been uphill or downhill depending on how you want to look at it since then. So, but yeah, but anyway, so this show kind of is cool. It's usually more towards the 4th of July, but they give them that weekend off now. So I'm gonna try
I
to
mean,
make
it's
it over there.
still pretty close to the fourth.
Yeah, you know,
weekend before.
if I go, I'm getting fireworks. So there is that.
Oh,
I
from there.
definitely, yeah,
Angel
yeah.
Park has fireworks on Sunday, now that you mention it.
Oh, you lucky duck.
Yeah, I could do without those.
Do you have to stay and stream them?
I'm not sure. No idea.
I love them in
I don't know
person.
when they're
I
gonna
love
do them
them.
because they have a 10 p.m. curfew. So I don't know, I don't know if they're gonna do them like I don't know if the
Probably do them
fireworks
after.
play into the curfew or if it's just the race car
Yeah,
noises.
probably just the race car
But
noises.
I've also been to like Rice Lake once and we did fireworks like at intermission. So
Yeah. It's got to be dark-ish for fireworks. You can't have fireworks at 8 o'clock when it's still
yeah, well
sunny out.
I know Ryan told me once he was at a track and they took a long there's I think if I remember right, the track he was at, they were planning to do fireworks like at intermission or whatever, and they I guess they got done with the heats or whatever before it got dark enough. So they took like a long intermission, waited for the sun to go down, and then shot off the fireworks and then continued with the features instead of just like running a couple features, waiting for it to get dark. They just literally waited for the sun to get down. If I remember right, I remember he said they took a really long intermission just for the sun to go down to do fireworks. So
Could have raced a little.
and it was an asphalt track, so it's not like they even needed to do track prep or
This
anything.
was like this. All right, whatever. I mean, that might turn me off on
Yeah, if
fireworks. I have
fireworks
to
weren't
wait
worth it
an
at that
hour
point.
just for fireworks for then watch racing. I might be irritated by that. I might have found my limit on fireworks. But other than that, I'm all for it. But anyway, so hoping to get there. I definitely can't go Friday. Colton has a baseball game at like 8 p.m. So that's a definitely
No,
not
yeah.
happening Sunday thing. So depending on how that his team does, and they should win, which is bad for going to Cedar Lake, but good for the child. But if they win, they'll likely play around like 4, I think. And so that like also acts as Saturday
Yes.
too. So yeah. So we'll see how it plays out. He's like, I could just skip. I'm like, no, you're not skipping. You've committed. You honor your commitment, son. So anyway. So I hope to make it there, but between baseball and weather, it seems like it's probably going to be tough. I don't think the weather's looking too hot.
Oh,
Uh,
that's never good.
yeah. But anyway, um, so that's kind of what we're doing. If I don't get to go racing, and the kid only has one baseball game a day, so like it's not a total axe on following some stuff. I'm probably going to pay attention to the World of Outlaws late models. They're up in my neck of the woods this week, so they're at I-94 in Fergus Falls on Thursday, and then they go to River Cities in North Dakota on Friday, and then they come back to Minnesota for Norman County on Saturday, and then on Sunday they go all the way out to Nodak Speedway in North Dakota. So they keep border hopping, I guess. so so that should be an interesting little swing. River Cities is a fun track. You just mentioned 994 earlier
Yeah.
in the episode, so that puts down some
No,
good racing too.
Norman County, I know they had a pretty good finish last year. Honestly, I can't remember what happened,
Nice.
but I remember it being like a good finish there at Norman County. That was like the first time I think I've seen that track was for them. So,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah, I think
Nodak.
last
Oh, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say I think last year's the first time any like tours have been there, at
Oh,
least in a
actually,
while. That's
I think
what I remember.
IRA went there last year, but I don't remember if it was before or
Oh,
after. I guess
okay.
not. That's not a national series, but that's
Yeah.
a bigger. I mean, sprint car
Bigger
series.
series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Nodak. I think I probably know more about Nodak than you do. That's just because
Yeah.
I've seen it on during the Dakota Mod Tour, which we'll probably talk about next week as well.
Yeah.
The Dakota Mod Tour goes there, and the one thing I always remember about that track is they have a big stage in the infield for like concerts or whatever during the fair or just to have concerts. But I always remember that being there. It's just a big stage, but it doesn't really block your view too much, so it doesn't. I mean, it's not ideal, but it's not like it's like a massive building or something. It's just some poles that more poles in your way, really.
All right. Is that a like a smaller track or is it
No,
a
it's
bigger
I don't
track?
know if it's a half mile, but it's definitely a bigger track. I mean, big enough to
Okay.
have a pretty. I mean, it's a pretty big fair. They might have the state fair there, maybe. I don't know. It's a pretty big fair. I don't know much about the fair scene over in North Dakota, but
Not up on
it's,
all your North Dakota fair news.
it must be a pretty big fair given the size of the stage, because I know it's a
Fair
pretty
enough.
big stage. It's not like a small little stage.
All right. Right on. Well, that should I'll probably catch some of that. That Sunday show. I mean, bar well, yeah. I was gonna like bar go to a race, but I don't think I'm gonna go racing. Anyway. Um so so that's them. Lucas, as I mentioned, is off. Um and then so I'm stumbling because I'm looking at our sheet going, but anyway. So I think the next thing we jumping for the second week, we're going to try this out, the regional roundup. But so I just wanted to draw your attention to something that I think is kind of interesting. So we've talked about SLMR a fair bit, and we've talked about Tri-State a fair bit. They're going head to head this weekend, for the lack of a better phrase. So SLMR has a 4-day swing starting Wednesday. So Wednesday they're at Oskaloosa or Southern Iowa
Yep.
Speedway. And then Thursday, Cresco, like you mentioned. You were
I'd
supposed to
I
be there, but you're
yeah,
not going to be there now.
I'd be shocked if that Cresco show got in.
Yeah, weather looks tough there for sure. Well, I think weather's affecting like all of the everything we talk about is always under the threat of weather.
It seems
Given,
like, yeah.
yeah. But and then so then they're at Fayette County on Friday, and then on Saturday they hit a West SLMR West day, and they're out at Adams County. So you informed me that's more Western Iowa, I
Yeah,
believe. So
that's closer to
yeah.
like Omaha, Nebraska.
Yep. And whereas Tri-State is running Friday at Hancock or Britt, and then Saturday at Hamilton County or Webster City, and then Sunday at Mason City. So I don't know. We may see some guys at SLMR for a few days and then hop over to Tri-State for Saturday, Sunday. That
Yeah,
might be a
I
thing
think
we see.
Saturday, Sunday for sure. Because I know too, there's guys that don't run like that only run the East series of
Yep.
SLMR. But then there's some guys that I think run both. Because I don't think they ever run on top of each other. Which could kind of be dumb to do.
I don't think they ever do. I don't
Yeah,
think they ever do.
especially
Yeah, they run
probably it's
joint
this.
shows
It's probably the
occasionally, but they don't.
same officials. So I doubt. Yeah, I doubt they ever run on top of each other. So
Yeah,
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the guys that are at uh, Fayette County on Friday then just stay and go to Webster City or Hamilton County, whatever, on
Hamilton
same
County. Yeah,
place on
same place,
Saturday,
different
and then
name.
Mason City Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I'm noticing that's a very Iowa thing. Is there's like the name of the track, and then there's the city where it's located, and some you name by the city, and some by the track. Anyway,
yeah, well,
but
yeah, it depends. Honestly, I've noticed if it's named after like a
yeah.
county,
A county, we
it
just call it
gets
by the
because
city.
like by me, there's Outagamie Speedway, but well, it used to be called Seymour Speedway, and it's in the town of Seymour. The county
Yeah,
is Outagamie, and like we always just call it Seymour.
yeah,
So,
makes
and
sense.
yeah, I think I don't know,
That makes
just
sense.
city names always easier. I've noticed that too. There's a lot of
Yeah.
places like that.
Yeah. But I'll be curious to see how this all shakes out. I mean, these have been the two that have been getting kind of like the highest car counts, of the regional roundup that we've been talking about. So I'll be interested to see how that all shakes out here. Um, I mean, I'm just hoping big numbers for everybody. I'm not rooting for or against anybody. I just want everybody to win. So it's not a this one's a better or that one's better for us. It's just a hey, this is interesting. All of a sudden, these two series are sort of colliding in Iowa. Curious how it all shakes out and who comes out to support them and where do they come from and all that fun stuff. And we'll check in and talk about it maybe next week. So anyway, so that's the regional roundup, and then I think that's everything we had discussed to talk about. That means, Carter,
It is
it's
time
time
for
for
the one for the road, and mine is the I guess it's the seventh annual Midwest Madness Tour, and it's like an IMCA tour in I think three states, Iowa for sure, South Dakota for sure. I think Worthington's in Minnesota, so I think it would be three
yes,
states they
yep,
go to. Yeah, um, and it's a five day little tour. And they got modified stock cars, sport mods, hobby stocks, and sport compacts. And then they have a points fund too for all 5 of those. And then it's added money to win. I'm not going to run it all, but like mods and stock cars are 1,000. And then the other 3 have a boosted payout. But they go to Worthington on the 29th, which I think is Sunday, right?
That sounds
Saturday,
right.
Sunday.
Yeah,
I think it's Sunday. They go to
Sunday.
Worthington and then Clay County on Monday, Park Jefferson on Tuesday, and then I'm going to butcher this maybe Buena Vista Raceway
Buena
on
Vista.
Wednesday, and then Stewart in Iowa on Thursday. Yeah, Thursday.
Uh-huh.
So
Right on.
yeah, I'll keep my eye on that. I'm sure some bigger names, bigger guys that I've heard of, will be
Yeah.
there. So yeah, it's always cool seeing these little tours. I wish there was some up by me, because Iowa seems to have a few of them. Uh, but yeah, I like the little tours, especially as a
Yeah.
fan too. I'd love one by me to go to for like 5 straight days.
Heck yeah, it's just like a 5 little, boosted payout or solid payout, and hopefully you draw most of your local guys and a few travelers here, there, and yeah, you just bang out tracks all within a reasonable distance of each
Yeah,
other, and heck yeah. So, um, should be neat, and given where they head up, we'll see some interesting names at a
yeah,
few
like
shows here and there.
Stewart,
So
Clay County. I mean, pretty much all
yeah,
of them.
yeah,
So and I saw there's
yeah.
one
Park
Wisconsin.
Jefferson.
Yep, Park Jefferson. I know in the past there's been like a couple of Wisconsin guys that would go, so hopefully that's the case this year. And then obviously the Iowa guys, I'm sure there'll be some that we know. So
Yeah, heck yeah.
it
Well,
is in
that
a
should
weird
be
it is in a weird spot though, because it starts before we record, but then it ends after after the
yeah.
episode's out. So
Well, we nailed talking about it this week, so we're like we planned ahead sufficiently this time. So well done.
and then I should probably recap my one from last week too. Probably should have done that
Yeah,
before I mentioned it. But Shawano, I mentioned last week, Shawano Speedway, up by me had a 2,500 to win stock car show, and they got 31 stock cars, which is pretty good. Especially they've been struggling on car count. For them, that's awesome. For anywhere really to get
yeah,
31 cars is really good. Um, and Jeremy Christians ended up winning that. Um, Actually, it was all the Shawano locals pretty much swept. We're in the top 10, it looks like. Yeah,
heck yeah.
so I know some 141 guys went up there. Luke Lemons, who I believe you've heard of, went
Uh-huh.
up there.
Yeah.
Tyler Wilson went up there. But yeah, so congrats to Jeremy Christians. I think that's their highest paying stock car show of the year. So nice to see they got a good turnout for that.
Heck yeah. And the home guys defending the turf.
Yeah, they really defended
Yeah.
it. Pretty much locked out the top 10.
Right on. So, well, I think that means it's my turn. I will quickly. So last week I talked about how Brandon Kopp went 3 for 3, and he went out on Wednesday and made it 4 for 4. He didn't carry the momentum past Wednesday, but he did win again
Uh,
at Thunder Bay. So,
yeah,
or
so he
Thunder
won the
Bay.
last 3 there. Is
Yeah, I
that
think
right?
so. Yep, yep. So he's 3 for 3 there, and he was 4 for 4 in features all at one point. So pretty neat to see him keep it rolling. I think we put a short out on it, and then he went and won the same day. So it was like, I don't know. I keep saying we're good luck, man. Like I keep saying we're good luck. So uh, right on. But anyway, so my one for the road, I want to talk about the Heartland Modified Tour. So they're going to Monet Motor Speedway this weekend
Is that how
for
it's
the
pronounced?
Larry. That's how I'm
Oh,
pronouncing
I
it.
always thought it was Monette. I have no idea. I just didn't know if that was for sure it.
Uh,
I always pronounce the T at the end, but
I I believe it's Monet, but maybe the double T it makes it Monette. I don't know. But anyway, so they're going to Monette Motor Speedway. But anyway, for the Heartland Modified Tour's got the Larry Phillips Memorial. They ran this at the same place last year, and they had 43 entries. Now, granted, that was in August, but USMTS is off, ARMS is off, Northern Lights is off. All those various series are off. Um, and this pays $7,575 to win on Saturday, and then on On Friday, it pays 2,000 to win. So there's like a $2,075 to win. So there's solid money up top for both these. I bet we see pretty close to like a USMTS field, plus all the Heartland guys, plus maybe some of the arms guys. This might be, we might crack 50. I think there's a chance. That I would say if I was a betting man, probably don't get over 50, but I'm gonna fingers crossed that we do.
The B
All
mods
right.
pay pretty good for that too, don't they?
They do. So that I'm a sucker for event names. That's called the Mean Jeans Summer Sizzle. Tell me that's not awesome. It's another. I believe it's a memorial race for a gentleman. But yeah, that pays 2,363 on Saturday, and then 70 or 750 on Friday as well. But so the big 2,500 on Saturday to win. So yeah, yeah, I bet they get a fair bit of cars. I'm fingers crossing they crack that 50. Like I said, just given the landscape and how big the payout is and stuff. So it should be a cool event. And I got racing dirt, so I can watch it. You can't, but I can.
I'll be busy anyways, so.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
one thing I remember about Monette is that was the track where I think it was Rodney Sanders that showed up there at some point last year,
yep,
and he was the only mod that showed up. They still paid him, I think, fully, if I remember
yeah,
right, and
yeah.
they
They
let him
gave
just
him
let
the
him kind of just run some hot laps. And now they're having humongous shows, it seems
yeah.
like. So
Yeah. Well, they did have the Larry Phillips
last
show
year, yeah,
that last year as well too. Yep, and they got 43. So yeah, it is an interesting come up because the Rodney Sanders news was before
yeah.
it was before this
So I
event. So it
remember
was like,
after that happened too, they ended up getting a fairly like like I think 15 or something mods the next week. Like it's like they actually started getting cars from it. I think
yeah,
it showed that I don't know, that they're good people and that people should go there and race. It
yeah,
seems so. Yeah, I just
yeah.
remember
I
seeing
mean,
that. I thought that was a cool deal. That's the first time I heard of that track.
yeah, and now, and like you said, sort of now, or I don't know if directly related to that, or it was already planned anyway. But the long and short of it is they have this pretty killer event too now.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see that they have both this killer event and they did something awesome, with Rodney, and basically we're like, hey, you're the only one, so you win. He'll pay you out.
There's a lot of places that may have just been like, here's your pit pass money back. Like, you can
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So right on. But yeah, I think that is absolutely everything for this episode. We were shooting for a time frame. I think we had too much fun. I think we went a little longer than planned, but it really there is no plan. It's have fun, and we appreciate y'all hanging out with us. So thank you so much. If you're here, like I always say, Carter, what if they're still here? What do they got to do?
Oh, you asking if they should like,
Yeah,
comment, subscribe,
yeah,
share,
yeah, exactly.
what else is there to do? I think that's all of it.
Oh, a rating? Did
Repost,
you say
rating.
yeah,
You could do
repost
ratings on Spotify.
or reviews? Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Something, do something. Tell your grandma. I said that. I used to say that back in the day. Tell your grandma about, I don't know, do something. We're good. We do well with the grandma. She might like us. So anyway, I'm losing it. We're out of here. Thank you so much.
Bye.